The fresh new Fossil Generation 5 smartwatch is one of the more premium Wear OS devices you'll find in 2019, packing all of the features you'd expect to take on the likes of Samsung's Galaxy Watch. This Generation 5 model boasts all kinds of upgrades, including a fresh new battery mode, a built-in speaker, and of course boosted specs. But is it an essential wrist accessory? Well, I've had it slapped on mine for just over a week now, and here is my full in-depth Fossil Generation 5 smartwatch review. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So the Fossil watch sports a 44mm case made of stainless steel, and so far it is proven a proper tough nut. Haven't noticed any scratches or chips, even though I've been smacking my arms off of walls and generally treating the thing with total disrespect. There's been no damage to that screen either, which is definitely good to see, and the watch is water resistant to a depth of 3 atmospheres or around 30 meters, so you can leave it on when you do your bit of snorkeling or whatever. You can grab the Generation 5 Fossil in a small number of different colours and designs, and I quite like this simple black model. It's quite sleek, quite elegant, and reasonably slender as well. I know that my dainty little child wrists make it look rather massive, but believe me, this is definitely one of the more compact ones that I've reviewed recently. There's still a decent heft to it, however, and it isn't quite perfect. The screen doesn't seamlessly meld into the chassis, for instance, so you've got this narrow ridge which is basically a haven for dust and annoying shit. You really have to get in there with your fingernails to dig it all out. Fun times. My review model came with a basic silicone strap, quite good if you're going to get your fitness on the go, but of course you can swap it for any standard 22mm band rather easily, so you can slap on a leather one if you're going to have a bit of a night out in the town, something like that. The Fossil's 1.3-inch AMOLED display doesn't appear to have changed at all over the Fossil Generation 4 model. It's once again perfectly crisp for reading tiny text, and those colours are quite punchy as well. And on the maximum brightness levels with the Sunshine Boost feature enabled, you can generally make out everything that's going on even on quite a sunshiny day. However, the likes of the always on display, you've got no chance once it starts getting bright out, so that's a bit of a shame. It's not quite as bright as some rivals such as the Apple Watch, but it's not bad to be honest. Now, Google's Wear OS has evolved quite a bit in recent times, and it is perfectly enjoyable here on the Fossil Gen 5. For a closer look, you can have a gander at my unboxing and full tour, but all of the features that you'd expect are present and correct. You've got Wi-Fi built into the Gen 5 here, so you can download new apps without tethering up to your phone, as well as a massive selection of watch faces as well. And there is a good variety already there on the watch, from functional affairs to more stylish efforts. And you also have a spot of NFC support for some Google Pay action. And you've got a bit of built-in GPS there as well, so again you don't have to tether to your phone if you go out for a bit of a run, if that's your bag. Fitness fans are of course well catered for, with the usual tracking apps and a heart rate monitor that can keep tabs on your pulse 24 hours a day. And you've got support for a massive selection of activities and workouts too. Everything from kitesurfing to calisthenics, which appears to be waving your arms around like a mentalist. If anyone knows what calisthenics is, let us know down below. On the side of the Fossil Gen 5 smartwatch, you'll find 3 physical buttons which jut out a fair distance. The middle one is used to bring up your apps menu, while the other 2 can be customized to load whatever you like. Definitely a very welcome shortcut if there's an app or 2 that you use over and over. And there's also now a proper built-in speaker housed right here on the left edge, which is great news if you want to actually get proper feedback from the Google Assistant, if you want to take a phone call on your watch for whatever reason, or if you just want to hear the thing chirp whenever you get a notification pop through. It is, however, quite tinny and a bit crackly as well, not too surprising given the watch's tiny size, and of course the fact that it's got that fully water-resistant design as well. Thankfully I've not had any issues with clarity or anything like that. The only slightly annoying thing is that you seem to have to wake the watch before you say OK Google, otherwise it doesn't seem to recognize it. OK Google, who is Boris Johnson?
According to Wikipedia, Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson is a British politician, serving as Prime Minister of the United
OK Google,
leader of the Conservative...
Just stop, that's too depressing. One of the other new features here on the Gen 5 is the extended battery mode, which joins the existing daily and time only settings. This sits neatly in between the two, offering basic smartwatch functionality including notification alerts, while killing many of the other features that you probably won't need turned on all of the time. The likes of GPS, NFC, raise to wake, gesture support, and even voice activation and that always on display are all unfortunately axed in this mode, and that's just too much of a sacrifice for me. I especially like the raise to wake gestures because I don't always have 2 hands free, and I like to have that always on display so I can just check out what the time is without having to wake the damn thing. And so I mostly just stuck with the custom battery mode. And battery life unfortunately still ain't too hot here on the Gen 5. With all of those main features enabled, you'll just about make it through a full day if you don't hammer the apps or really use it for much of the fitness stuff. And with that extended mode activated, I found that I still only got about a day and a half of life out of the Gen 5 per charge, so still not amazing. I would say if battery life is a major factor for you, maybe look at something like the Withens Steel HR instead. That thing, you could get about a month of life on a single charge, and it's got all of the full smartwatch functionality built in. As for performance, well, the Fossil Gen 5 is one of the best around. A Snapdragon Wear 3100 chipset powers the watch, backed by a full gig of RAM, and that means smooth sailing no matter what you're up to. The only issue I've spotted is that some messages take a couple of seconds to clear when you archive them, and you also get 8 gigabytes of storage packed into this thing as well, double the previous generation, so plenty of space for your apps and whatnot. So after living with the Generation 5 Fossil Watch for over a week, is it worthy of a spot on your wrist? Well, I definitely like it, despite that limited battery life. You get all the features you could possibly hope for, all presented in a sleek and slender stainless steel chassis. That's what I reckon, but are you tempted by the Fossil Generation 5, or has some other funky little smartwatch out there caught your eye instead? Obviously, one of the biggest rivals is the Samsung Galaxy Watch, so it'd be great to hear your thoughts on how it compares to that. And if you want the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers!